Hey everybody, I'd just like to say a few words about someone I was very proud to call a friend, David. Sorry I can't be there, Dave. Say goodbye in person. Hopefully you'll forgive me. Rather than spend my time being sad, although I obviously am, I'd like to give some insight to the others there about our formative years together. I was so lucky to spend time with you. Here we go. First met Dave in 1977 when we were thrown together at the first day of school. We seemed to hit it off straight away. Dave was the good Sunday school boy. I'd already transitioned into bad boy, complete with my pride and joy BSA Bantam motorcycle. Pretty much straight away we developed nicknames for each other. My last name being Ball got changed to Bollock, and I changed his name from Hicks to Hickey Bricks, so he became known as Bollock and Hickey Bricks. However, nobody but me called him Hickey Bricks to his face. We became two halves of that same piece of trouble and enjoyed living on the naughtier side of good at school. We always had each other's backs. He never dobbed me in, well, maybe once or twice. One day we were sat in class, in our humanities class, and a teacher was in front of me and helping another student, leaning forward. I took out my biggest elastic band, my biggest paper dart, aimed it carefully at Mr. Dillon's posterior and let go. I can still hear that sound now. Very loud, very sudden. Dave immediately burst out with a most massive belly laugh. Whilst I quickly looked down and pretended to be getting on with my work, as you do. Anyway, Mr. Dillon span round, assumed it was David because he was the one that was laughing, and gave him the most almighty slap across his face, and then sent him to the headmaster for more punishment. David didn't rat me out, but he did wait to get his own back. I'll tell you that next. Many weeks later, some guys had been wrecking the cricket pitch with their motorcycles. They'd used it as a drag strip, basically. We were called outside for a fire drill assembly, and we line up alphabetically as you do. Mr. Reynolds, our PE teacher, also a critic fanatic, grabbed me by the lapels. David dropped into his ear. I might have been the perpetrator that wrecked his beautiful cricket pitch. So he picked me up with the lapels and had some very stern words with me. It was very hard to keep a straight face when David was howling with laughter from behind. Anyway, he did eventually tell Mr. Reynolds that it wasn't in fact me, he just made it up. Not before I'd got a bit of a thwacking though. Moving on a year or so, my mother decided to save some money on haircuts, so she got the clippers out and cut my hair. Cut it all off, shaved it in fact. Anyway, I went to school the next day and got suspended for a month. Dave comes around about a week later and says, "Hey, Al, weren't you at school?" So I explained that I'd been suspended for a month because I'd had my hair shaved. "Excellent," he says. "Shave mine," he insisted. So out come the clippers. And guess what? He got suspended too. We had weeks of fun before they insisted that we come back to school. And you know what? Our hair still hadn't grown for some strange reason. I can't understand what had happened. It was still shaved. Anyway, we had lots of fun. More than 40 years later, we'd lost touch, and Dave tracks me down on Facebook. I'm now living in Australia. I was overwhelmed that he got in touch with me, but when I looked at his profile picture, he had a shaved head. Now, when I met him at school, my memory was of his beautiful coiffed jet black hair, always perfect. I'd forgotten about the fact we'd shaved our heads. My hair was, a bit more of a normal length. It's at least, well, maybe an inch long. Anyway, I mentioned to Dave that I didn't recognise him without the hair, and he said to me, "Well, it was you that shaved it off in 1977, you bloody idiot." I'd never realised that he'd kept that style for the rest of his life. Anyway, funny. There's so many stories I could tell you, like the fainting teacher incident where we literally saved her from cracking her head on the step as she fell off an open-backed stool. The teacher stamping her feet incident. That was very funny, but can't tell you that one now. Or the jumping out of windows incidents. We'll keep those ones quiet as well, but they were fun. I know we haven't got much time, so let me just tell you something about Dave's softer side and his mature side. I used to get my fair share of bullying at school. I guess it was the fact that I was a rebel, never wore a school uniform, bit of an alpha daily. Anyway, I was a ripe target. Dave used to put himself in between me and the aggressor. Doesn't matter how big they were or how many of them, he never backed down. Never. He very quickly got a reputation of being someone not to mess with, and he became my minder. And I became a bit of an alpha daily, selling stuff all the time. Anyway, moving on. After Dave's accident and his time with Swindon Headway, I learned of his skills as a poet. Wow. To quote a famous comedian Jethro, he's bloody good. It again showed Dave's softer side and his eloquence. Although we hadn't stood next to each other for over 40 years, it felt like we'd never been apart. And that's the mark of a true friend. I'm really fortunate to have called Dave friend. Dave, we love you. We miss you. Give him hell up in heaven, but more importantly, save a seat for me. I'll know meet again, and we'll rain the best havoc. Love you, Dave.